Oh, how different the last 25 years of football could have been. And in this video, we get to have a look just how different the last 25 years of football could have been, thanks to an FM23 retro database that's been created by the mad scientist and Warringtini. Links to them and the database itself down in the description below. But to cut a long story short, they've put together a database based on the 1998-99 season that works in FM23. So it's got all the right clubs, all the right teams with all the right players as things were 25 years ago, and even better than that. And that's pretty good. But on top of that, it's got all of the players who then emerged over the subsequent 25 years coming through the right youth teams at the right time. So you've got the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Mbappe, Haaland. You get the idea. They're all in this database as well. But of course, in this version of reality, their careers don't necessarily carry the same trajectory they did on our timeline. So in this video, we're going to explore an alternate history of the last 25 years using Football Manager 2023 and a frankly awesome retro database. Hello folks, and welcome to an alternate look at the last 25 years of football history, courtesy of Football Manager, the mad scientist, and Warringtini. All of the links that you need, they're all down in the description below. If you want to have a play around with this database yourself, and I think you should, it's great. There's far more than I can possibly cover in this video. Make sure you download it and have a play around. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. We've got videos like this from previous retro databases, plus I release daily Football Manager content on the channel. And of course, if you do enjoy this video, leave a thumbs up. It tells me you want to see more stuff just like this on the channel. But without further ado, we're going to jump straight in. As you can see, we are in June 2047. It's the one thing the database can't do. It can't change the calendar. So when it starts up with the 98-99 database, it's still showing as the 22-23 season in game. So we just kind of have to do all of the complicated maths, but it really is just a case of moving things on 25 years. And this brings us up to date with current football. So this is the Premier League table as of the end of this season, if the last 25 years had turned out the way Football Manager predicts that they would. So, I mean, the top four, top five, I mean, even the top six, not utterly unrealistic. I mean, Leeds probably shouldn't be there, but when you look at some of the players Leeds have got, still David O'Leary in charge of Leeds. But when you see that Leeds have got Neymar and Mbappe and have only just sold Erling Haaland, you realise that, okay, Leeds have probably got good reason to be up there in the top four. There was a couple of seasons spell where they had Neymar, Mbappe and Haaland in their attack. And believe it or not, they were winning the Premier League while that was going on. But then you start to see some names you don't necessarily expect to be at this kind of level. I mean, the Cup Winners' Cup I don't expect to see anywhere. But Blackburn up here, Wimbledon still existing in this universe. Of course, this is before Milton Keynes Dons became a thing. And in this version of reality, Milton Keynes Dons never did become a thing. So there's Wimbledon still existing in this version of history. And you've also got Ipswich up here. Manchester City getting relegated from the Premier League. Of course, another thing that happened over the last 25 years is Manchester City's tycoon takeover, which in this version of history never happened. And we have the pleasure of seeing them relegated back whence they came. Because if you look at this history, and they've actually spent the vast majority of the last 25 years in what is still called the First Division, the equivalent of the Championship now. They've had a few years up in the Premier League, but have now been relegated back down to that level again with their best players. I mean, they've got Shaqiri, they've got Nick Pope as their backup goalkeeper. I mean, that's not turned out great for Nick Pope. Although, to be fair, it looks like he has been a regular starter for them over the course of recent years. So the Premier League looking very surprising, and there's also some surprising names popping around. You will see the odd guy like this, as well as the real life new gens. And real life new gens is a weird sentence, but obviously we have Kylian Mbappe, who, as you can see, came through at Monaco at the right point. So wherever he came through in real life, like 8 years ago, it was 8 years ago in game as well. It's just got the dates adjusted. So he came through as a youngster at Monaco, and you can see that he then went to Blackburn for a season and then on to Leeds. So we've got the real life new gens. There's Robert Lewandowski as well, but we also have a few that the game generates Joe Ridley. If Joe Ridley is real, and I just am not aware of him, I'm sorry, Joe Ridley. I'm pretty sure Joe Ridley is one of the ones that the game just creates anyway. You can see some players at clubs you wouldn't necessarily expect to see them. So obviously, we've already seen Mbappe at Leeds. There we've got Lewandowski at Manchester United, where he spent almost his entire career. Ipswich actually buying him off of Legia Warsaw. And then a couple of years later, moving on to Manchester United, where he has been playing ever since. And he's probably one of their top goal scorers ever now. Eden Hazard still at Chelsea. Obviously, he doesn't spawn through at Chelsea, so it's interesting when you see players like this who end up at the same clubs they signed for in real life, because it's just some players are destined to be at some places, I guess. Eden Hazard joining Chelsea for 50 million about 10 years ago, so that would have been the equivalent of 2013-ish. And he has been a regular for them ever since. But he's joined in that Chelsea lineup by Mohamed Salah, who, of course, did spend a brief, unhappy period at Chelsea in real life. In this universe, I mean, he settled right here and has been there forever. Having passed through PSV Eindhoven on the way, Mo Salah, very much a Chelsea player. And this Chelsea team is frankly a little bit bonkers, because they also have Kevin De Bruyne. Again, same situation as we've just seen with Mo Salah. In real life, he had his very brief spell at Chelsea. In this reality, not so brief. It cost £71 million to bring Kevin De Bruyne into Chelsea, and he's been there for the last 10 or so seasons. They've also got Frankie de Jong, just coming straight in from Willem II. I mean, it's probably a fancy Dutch way to say that. But obviously never making it to Ajax or onto Barcelona. There's Hazard, Vincent Kompany, never making it to Manchester City, went straight from Anderlecht to Chelsea. Remember, this is before Chelsea had their big money takeover as well. So it's not just Manchester City who never got their money. Chelsea never got their money either. But Chelsea, I guess, were in the ascendancy before the money came. There's no tycoon takeover on there for Chelsea. They've just managed to collect together a really quite impressive collection of players, which is some good stuff, I guess, if you're a Chelsea fan in this universe. Leeds is the other one. I mentioned briefly that Erling Haaland has just left, but they've still got Antoine Griezmann, Kai Havertz, Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, and Mario Balotelli up front with Kylian Mbappe. It's hard to believe Mario Balotelli's still only 32 years old. And in this universe, he is still a top-level player, partnering Mbappe. Darwin Núñez is on the bench. And Erling Haaland, I think, left for Real Madrid this summer, just gone. How do we look at their... We can't look at their transfer history. Okay, I don't know why we can't look at their transfer history, but we can look at Erling Haaland, because there's specific things I want to note about Erling Haaland. One, he did make it to Leeds, his hometown team, but... arguably even more important, Erling Haaland is English in this universe. He declared for England. Obviously born in Leeds, so has English as a second nationality. But in this universe, went to England much earlier on in his career, straight from the Brine Youth Academy, where, of course, he went on to the Austrian club, the name of which escapes me. But instead, he went to Tottenham for a mere £50,000. They barely used him and he barely scored. But he went home to Leeds for 32 million, spent a couple of years there before his big move to Real Madrid. And now at age 22, he is hammering the goals in for Real Madrid in La Liga. That's a Real Madrid team, by the way, who had quite an interesting selection of players for a few years. I don't know if he's still there. There he is, look. Lionel Messi, who spent most of his career at Real Madrid. Obviously did come through at Barcelona, as he's supposed to, but rather than spending the majority of his career at Barcelona, left for the riches of Blackburn in the Premier League, because, of course, this is a universe where Blackburn do still have money to throw around, because in 1998, Blackburn still had money. So... they were able to bring him to England, as seems to be the case with all top-level players. He passed through Leeds briefly, a couple of years at Leeds, not scoring any goals. He was at Leeds for 2 years, played only 21 games, didn't score a single goal for Leeds. And then they sold him on a loss to Real Madrid, where he's not quite reached the same heights that he reached in reality. I think it's fair to say only 13 international goals. In this universe, Lionel Messi... not exactly one of the best players in the world. The closest he's ever got to a FIFA best men's player is being shortlisted. He's never won one, never won a Ballon d'Or. Things didn't work out quite so well for Mr. Messi in this universe. But it does mean that he got to spend some time at Real Madrid with Cristiano Ronaldo, who in this world retired age 37. So we can't see the full breakdown of his career. But you can see that he went straight from Sporting to Real Madrid. No spell at Manchester United, but did end up at Real Madrid as he did in real life. Didn't score a ridiculous number of goals. And again, similar to with Messi, didn't absolutely dominate the Ballon d'Or the way he did in real life. In fact, if we look at the Ballon d'Or, you can see that was largely dominated by Francesco Totti, who won it 9 out of 10 times. Only Alessandro Del Piero able to break the dominance of Totti during that period of time. Ronaldo did manage to pick up two when he was at his absolute peak, but definitely not the 10-year period of dominance that we had out of Messi and Ronaldo in real life. You can see Harry Kane of Juventus is in there picking up a couple of Ballon d'Ors as well. 77 goals for England in this universe, and he left Tottenham after only a couple of seasons. Very young, he left Tottenham to go to Juventus, and he has spent most of his career at Juventus, hammering in goals in a Serie A that is one of the top leagues around. Obviously, this is carrying forward from 1998 when Serie A was pretty close to the pinnacle. You can see it is right up there, just behind the Premier League when it comes to reputation. Serie A is serious business in this universe. The fact that Leeds have had 3 Ballon d'Or winners in the... I've just seen Ronaldinho pass through Leeds as well. Apparently every superstar player of the last 25 years has spent at least some of their career playing for Leeds United. Under David O'Leary, who's been the manager all the way through. Griezmann, Neymar, Mo Salah winning World Player of the Year as well. David O'Leary's just done 25 full years as manager of Leeds. Still only 65, which he's only 65 in real life. He's not had a management job in 20 years, has he? But he certainly seemed to do all right in this version of Leeds. And like I say, developing all of the best players of the last however many years. We're going back to the Premier League briefly. I know we're going very scattergun in this, but I am just very excited. I love going through all this stuff. I could spend hours. This could easily be a 3-hour video. If you do want to see a part 2, we're going to need to get a lot of thumbs ups on this video. If we get 5,000 likes on this video, we'll look at doing a part 2. But I'll need your suggestions for what you want me to look at in a part 2. So let me know those down in the comments section as well. If we look at the Media Dream 11 in the Premier League, you can see it was basically the Leeds team. Is Edison at Leeds? He is. So Edison, that is the Leeds 11. That's okay. That's not a Media Dream 11. It's the Leeds team. That does explain a lot, but this is actually quite a good way to look through your best 11s. So I didn't know the game did this. Does it not have a Dream 11? I've never seen this screen before. This is amazing. So Leeds are considered the best team in the Premier League. That's their team. And then you've got Chelsea. A quick look through the first 11s of all these teams. See if we can see anyone we wouldn't expect. De Gea at Liverpool. Arsenal have got Alisson in goal and Benzema up front. At Tottenham, obviously no Harry Kane. They have got Anthony Martial. I'm sure Tottenham fans will be absolutely right. They've also got Phil Foden, who is a right midfielder in this world, having left Manchester City relatively early, 3 years ago, left Manchester City in quite a cheap deal, having never really established himself. I mean, I say that, he played 34 games both of those seasons, but of course this is a Manchester City team who have been in the relegation battles in the Premier League, so I guess it's a slightly different situation for him. He was moving from Manchester City onto a bigger club. There's Manchester United. Raphael Varane making it to Manchester United, another one of those that makes it eventually to the team that he played for in real life. He's gone a very circuitous route to get there as well, spending 5 years at Schalke, who look like they've had a jolly nice time over the last 25 years as well. Calvert-Lewin at Derby County, never finds his way to Everton, goes from Sheffield United to Villa to Tottenham. Of course, he gets a spell at Leeds, Liverpool, Newcastle, Derby. Never really found a home in this universe, has he? And we're not going to go through and look at the whole league, but I mean, like I say, I really could. I really could just spend forever just going through all of this. It's all very exciting. Let's look at the England team, actually. We already know Erling Haaland is English, but similar to what we've already seen with Messi and Ronaldo, not necessarily as dominant. Harry Kane has gone on to become one of the best players in the world, but Erling Haaland, without that development that he had in Austria and in Germany and playing Champions League football early, he's, I mean, I guess he has now made it to the point where he's scoring a decent number of goals for Real Madrid, but still not really established himself in this England team instead of, use your words, Kev, instead, I mean, Joe Ridley, I guess, is quite good. He's a make-believe player, but he's keeping Erling Haaland out of the England team. Jadon Sancho is a left-back. Well, that's interesting. Jadon Sancho is a left-back at Chelsea. So, again, came through at Manchester City, sold relatively cheaply because that's what can happen at Manchester City. Well, I think that's more than he went for to Dortmund in real life. Went to Chelsea and is a left-back. That's my kind of left-back, a winger. I mean, that's what I use at left-backs. Wingers. Where's Raheem Sterling? He is at Arsenal, having, I mean, I was going to say he spent most of his career at Liverpool. He didn't. Obviously came through at Liverpool, then went to Roma, Fiorentina, Liverpool again, and now finding himself at Arsenal. And Tosin Adarabioyo of Benfica is in this England team as well, having passed through Manchester City, Tottenham, Man United, Real Madrid, and now Benfica. He's only 25. What a weird career that is, because he's been a regular at Real Madrid, Manchester United, Tottenham, Manchester City, and has now in his mid-20s found himself at Benfica. That's like a reverse career trajectory to what we see in real life. Let's have a look at some of the other leagues as well. So if we head to Spain and have a look at, in fact, one thing we didn't look at in the Premier League, so let's just go back very quickly. We just want to look at the past winners just to see who has been winning it. So we had Manchester United and Arsenal, and then Chelsea had their period of dominance. Leeds show up every now and again, but Chelsea have won a lot. And it's just been Chelsea and Leeds for the last 15 plus years. It's just Chelsea, Leeds, Tottenham, the one team to sneak in and break the dominance of Chelsea and Leeds. So now we'll head to Spain and have a look to see what we've got going on there. So if we go to the Primera División, past winners, it's Real Madrid and Barcelona, although to be fair, it's pretty much Real Madrid. We've already looked at just how stupendously good their team can be at times. They've got Messi sat on their bench. Eduardo Camavinga making it through to them as well, having passed through Paris Saint-Germain on the way. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain, another team who didn't get their money, so they've just been the Paris Saint-Germain that I grew up with, a mid-table Ligue 1 team who, occasionally get into Europe and have a little bit of a run. So it's not quite the big move it would have been now, but obviously Real Madrid for Camavinga is definitely a big move, and they have got Erling Haaland, who has just arrived there as well. Juan Mata on the right-hand side of midfield for them also. Let's have a look at what the Barcelona team looks like, because I guess they've not had their financial disasters that they had in real life. So Kurt Zouma at the back for Barcelona, Rodri in midfield. Obviously, any Manchester City players are not going to be making it to Manchester City because they are not close to the team they are in real life. Virgil van Dijk is at Barcelona, though, and he went there straight from Groningen. And I mean, they got a big fee for him as well. That is some good stuff for them. Claudio Ranieri is the Barcelona manager, which is very interesting. Right, let's go to Italy, the second big league. So if we have a look at Italy, going to Serie A, it is very much a story of Juventus domination. This is your Juventus team. So Matt Doherty at Juventus. That's not what I was expecting to see. He's moved around a bit. So there's a lot more journeyman careers than what you get in reality, I think. Caicedo, of course, very nearly joining Arsenal from Brighton in the transfer window just gone. In this world, went to Tottenham and then on to Juventus, where he is now a key part of that midfield. They've got Koulibaly there as well. Gabriel Martinelli, straight to Juventus, but even less than Arsenal paid for him. And he's now starting to try and make his way through the Juventus setup, where Gareth Bale is in his way as one of the players in here. Never going to Tottenham, never going to Real Madrid, Southampton, Newcastle, Liverpool, and then Juventus. but still played a gazillion games for Wales. What on earth is this guy? Right, Freddie Adu, not American in this world. He is Ghanaian. So similar to what we saw with Erling Haaland declaring for a different nation to the one he declared for in real life. In this version of history, Freddie Adu decides he is Ghanaian rather than American, and it looks like his career has taken a completely different trajectory as a result. Went from DC United to Wimbledon, where he spent 6 years playing in the Premier League for Wimbledon before moving on to Blackburn in a big money move, and then an even bigger money move to Juventus. And they have got a lot of players for that left-hand side of their midfield. Goodness me. Right, where have we not looked? We've not looked at Germany, have we? So let's have a look at Germany to see what is going on there. If we go to the Bundesliga, have a look at past winners. It's the Bayern Munich show, so let's have a look at the Bayern Munich team. Brian Robson is the Bayern Munich manager. He went from Middlesbrough to England onto Bayern Munich. What a world! What a world this is. Matthias de Ligt did make it there. This time going from Ajax to Munich via Chelsea rather than via Barcelona. Casemiro is there as well, having never gone to Real Madrid. Of course, he spent time in Leeds, because who didn't spend time in Leeds? Apparently, it's all anyone ever does. But it's not like a crazy dominant looking Bayern Munich team. I think it's almost more a reflection of the fact that the German league isn't as strong as it is in real life in this version of reality, I don't think. I mean, let's have a look at the Champions League to see if there's been any German teams winning the Champions League in recent years. So Leeds have won it several times. You've got Chelsea winning it a lot, Real Madrid, Fiorentina, Barcelona. Yeah, it's basically English, Spanish, or Italian teams. There's not been a German Champions League. Okay, the Bayern Munich got to the final 3 times but didn't win. But yeah, the German league, and in particular the French league, nowhere to be seen on here, which is, I imagine they'd see that as quite unfortunate. So shall we have a look at the World Cup as well? See if that's also reflected internationally, where Mexico are the current holders of the World Cup. Previously Spain, France, Argentina, Italy, Brazil. Should we have a look at this Mexico team to see who the Mexico team who've just won the World Cup are? They've got Raul Jimenez up front, who is Barcelona's striker, having played just about everywhere, surprisingly. Didn't spend any time at Leeds. Carlos Vela's obviously in there as well. And then various other Mexican people who won the World Cup. That's pretty impressive. I want to see the Spain team. We've already looked at England. Let's have a look at Spain. Milinkovic-Savic playing for Spain is another one where he's decided to declare for a different nation to the nation he declared for in real life. Does he have Spanish as a second nationality? Or is that because he signed for Real Sociedad so young that he became Spanish before Serbia even called him up? That seems unlikely. He must have Spanish as a second nationality in real life. Surely. Let me know down in the comments section. David De Gea is the starting goalkeeper for Spain as well. And then France, presumably still going to have Mbappe up front, Thomas Lemar up front with him. Aubameyang, another example of someone declaring for a different nation. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who is at Fiorentina. Of course, he was at Leeds for a bit, just one season. Just had to get a little bit of a taste of it. Griezmann on the right-hand side as well. And Laporte deciding to be French rather than Spanish in this world, which he almost did in real life, did he not? Koulibaly's French as well. There you go. So there's quite a lot of players declaring for different nations in this universe as well. But that has been a whistle-stop tour around this database. I'm very conscious that this is already a 20-minute plus video. Like I say, I could talk about this for hours. I could go through this for hours. If you want to see more, let me know down in the comments what you want to see. Leave a thumbs up on the video. If we get 5,000, we'll do a part 2. Or maybe even better than that, just download the database. Link is in the description below, and you can have a play around with it yourself and see what happens in your version of 25 years of football completely reinvented using this awesome retro database. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much for watching.